I ended up having to have a cesarean. I was 18 hours in labour. And finally, when he was pulled out, his legs were going like this. That's how his life started. He came out peddling.
We've always called Brook the Bulldog. Every time I ride with him, he always smashes something.
The green net. Oh! He's 100% aggression with whatever he's doing. Pretty exciting riding to watch.
He's just a beast. The ability to take shit.
When he had huge crashes, he would get straight back up on the bike again.
Riding for Brook is what he lives and breathes. It's who he is.
Accidents happen, but this one was a bad one.
The pain was unbearable. I tried to roll over and fuck, man, I can't move my legs. Like, why aren't they working?
Can you straighten your leg, honey? It's on an angle.
No, I can't, Luce.
We're in Canada, Mont-Sainte-Anne. It was the last day of practice before we started racing. Everyone was saying that he was on fire, and they were like, man, he was smoking.
2019, I felt good. I was strong. I started off really good. I won New Zealand. Middle of the year, I won Innsbruck Crankworks, which was another confidence booster for me going into the end of the season. It all happened so quickly. A route that had been exposed from the weather the night before, and clipped that, and it put me offline and sent me over the handlebars.
When you see your mate like saying that he can't feel his feet, I've seen him in pain before, but this was different. Like, he was just like, help me, fucking help me.
The medics on the hill turned up and knew how serious it was, and then it kind of started to sink in then that yeah, I'd lost feeling in my legs and there was significant damage.
It's kind of like chucking yourself off a first-storey building or more to flat.
He takes so many big slams, so when word started trickling down the hill that Brook had taken a big slam and he wasn't getting up from it, you knew straight away that it wasn't just your run-of-the-mill crash.
I just wanted to be off that hill, and it just seemed like a lifetime.
I had no idea what had gone on. I had just been told that something's happened with his legs.
They said that he had completely smashed to pieces one vertebrae, and that the spinal cord, some of the shattered pieces were hitting the spinal cord.
The surgeon was talking to us. He said to us that he actually didn't think that he just didn't think that Brook would have been able to walk again.
This is a CT scan that was taken the day of his injury. The load that he took when he landed caused these blocks of bones to burst apart and compress the spinal cord. And you can see the amount of screws and rods that were inserted into the spine. At this stage, there's a real chance that he may not walk again. It's very hard for us to tell what the future may be. Even if he is going to get back walking again, it's going to be many, many months of recovery. And that recovery would in most circumstances at best lead to a final result that is far short of what he was previously enjoying.
You're doing well, but your leg's still...
I know.
Brook had his mind on rehab since day one.
Probably 2 days after surgery, I made the decision that I was going to race my bike again and set a goal to be able to race the following season.
Brook thought it was realistic that he'd go back riding, and I certainly didn't. I didn't want him to go back, but I didn't understand how much it meant to him. I just wanted him to be there as my partner. 3 days post-op, Brook wanted to get up and walk, and we were having to say, just slow down.
I had a pretty simple task set out for me, just trying to wake the muscles up, and being able to stand up and lean on a table and walk ever so slightly. For any normal person, that's so easy, you do it with your eyes closed. But yeah, for me it was really tough, and I guess opened my eyes up of how much work I had ahead of me.
We sort of break it down into two elements. He's got a structural problem in his spine now, where those two bones are no longer holding his spine straight. And he's also had a neurological consequence of those injuries with the compression of the spinal cord. You know, for Brook to be able to get back on his bike and perform at a level that he did previously is a massive outcome, requiring a lot of tenacity, a lot of determination. There's a long road ahead, and determination is a key part of getting the best out of the situation, and he's got buckets of that.
So you can sit by me? In my chair.
Man.
There were never tears, but blood and sweat. Yeah. He worked so hard.
Lucy was a massive part of this journey, basically nursing me, washing me, toileting me, with me there every single step of the way.
I can't wait till he's out the wheelchair.
Just started walking with crutches, pretty small steps, but it's a step in the right direction, and to be able to stand and actually feel what it's like to walk again is pretty surreal, so having to start from scratch again has been difficult.
I think he's doing too much at a time, but he's loving the achievement that he gets from it.
Pretty hard to watch all that muscle waste away. I got the biggest shock was having a shower one night. I pulled the curtain back and looked at my ass in the mirror, and there was nothing there. I was just like, man, this really makes me realise how much this accident has affected my body and what I've got to do to get everything back.
I really saw the mental and physical side of how hard Brook worked. And it's an amazing place because people either walk again there or they don't.
There's so many factors in that whole process of learning to walk again that no one will ever know what you have to go through. Just gaining the ability to know inside of my head that I can walk out of there.
I'll tell you, the highlight also was the day the local bike shop bought the Mondraker bike out to Burwood Hospital, and he hopped on and he rode it.
Yeah. I was just testing the legs out.
A smile on his face said it all.
What are you up to?
It was probably better than anything I've ever done in my entire life. Just being able to pedal the bike around and know that I could ride a bike still was the best feeling.
7 weeks on, you don't want your wheelchair.
He needs a wheelchair. What's a wheelchair?
My wheelchair.
I think it's about 8 months now since my accident. I've just basically worked like the last 5 weeks on my endurance. My 1 minute power is the best it's ever been since 2018, so pretty stoked with that. Still got a long way to go for where I want to be, but obviously that takes time. Every day things get better and I feel like I get stronger, and I know I just had a feeling that I was going to be back, and you know, I was going to have a second chance at life and being able to race my bike again. Never had a day that, you know, didn't feel like I was achieving anything. And if I didn't make any gains, it wasn't like a big loss, because, you know, the next day I'd go and try it again and I'd do it. So, yeah, just the whole journey has been one big positive outlook on getting back to normal life.
He gets off that bike and he looks like an old man because his back's always so sore. But he could ride for hours if he wanted to. Brook will get back bigger and better and prove all those people wrong that thought he couldn't.
Going on my first road ride since the accident. Looking forward to it. I've been on one for a long time, so every day little steps, and yeah, today is obviously a big one for me.
only day in her life that she'll ever go faster than me.
And I'm going to take all that I can from it. Today's a huge milestone. Doing it together is nice. Brook's perspective has been positive probably 99.9% of the time. I think it's just in him. It's me, on the other hand, that just looks at everything so realistically. And Brook returning back to racing, it's kind of a big one for me. But throughout this rehab process, each day puts my mind at ease. Just seeing him and how much he puts into the work and is making me feel a lot better about it all. He's had 2 operations there. The first one when he broke his back, putting the rods in, and then the second one when they were taking them out.
She's been the backbone of everything and making my life so much easier, and I feel like her being there has just made me push myself that much more because I've wanted to make her happy. And
first day riding jumps in a long time, probably, I don't know when the last time was a road, probably 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to be able to get through a majority of them. Pretty good feeling actually. My whole lower back's super tight and I feel like these actually kind of helping because it's kind of like making me use my back a lot more in different ways. Pretty nervous coming here and actually riding them. Mentally, knowing that I can still do this. I used to take it for granted and now I don't, so I'm pretty lucky to be able to ride my bike again.
this is the helmet that I wore when I crashed. It's a custom helmet that I got done for World Champs. I got 2 pretty special people on the back of it. My granddad and Stevie Smith, a friend who passed away. My injury could have been a lot worse and I guess they were looking over me that day, and I've realised how lucky I am and how much this injury has changed my life. I appreciate it a lot more and yeah, just go about things differently.
I don't know what he would be like without riding. He hasn't been on his downhill bike yet, and I know that's what he's striving for.
Stepping off the plane into Europe was a surreal feeling, knowing that I'm here to race and ride my bike.
Is it recording, bro?
Yeah. Yeah, Mikey. I've rejoined my team, MS Mondraker. It's so awesome to be back in the team environment. My speed is there, I feel really confident on the bike.
I did expect like a little bit of a slower approach. Like first probably like 2 or 3 runs he was getting wild like he used to do.
I was just so surprised at how smooth he was and how in control, and just kind of everything looked like it was clicking into place perfectly, just looking so comfortable.
Every time I do a GoPro run behind him, he's always doing something wild that gets you amped and gets you excited, and you just start giggling from there down.
He's back riding the bike, and I reckon even faster than he was last year.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to see how quick he could take all the fear of what's happened in the past out of his mind and just crack on to what he does best.
My love for riding a bike is definitely growing. It's just a whole nother feeling because I feel like I'm so privileged to have this opportunity. The feeling that I get out of riding as fast as I can again, I definitely know inside that, you know, everything is coming together.
He's got such a positive mental attitude, and for sure one of the most determined people on the hill. If he needs to do something, he'll get it done.
3, 4, come on.
His training is known as one of the most rigorous training regimes. It's just insane to see that work ethic.
4, 5, and done. Line up. Come on. 1, 2, catch it. 4, 5, 6.
When it is working time, he is super focused. He has a good drive, you know, and he knows, okay, now the next reps, seconds, he has to be in. He's doing as far and as hard as he can. There are no movement restrictions while he's riding a bike.
The physio and doctors here, they've really picked out the finer details of things that I need to improve on. Way over my head. With it only been a year, I feel like I'm a step ahead of probably where I should be. My goal is to be back racing. Obviously now I have that opportunity. Crankworx Innsbruck is going to be really important. It's come around pretty quickly. I think the whole mental preparation going into a race is so important.
There's a lot of curiosity around Brook. I think almost they're a little bit surprised to see Brook back this quickly.
People have been saying, are you racing, sort of thing? Like, they kind of feel like he might be just here to practice or...
I put new pedals on. I bought the other ones and they are +5 clicks on. Sweet, then you'll see. Cheers, bro.
People don't quite realise that he's up to speed.
A lot of people were definitely surprised that I'm here racing my bike a year later after my accident. I guess pretty overwhelming to know that I'm racing my bike again. I guess going through the whole mental preparation and a little bit rusty and figuring out how I'm going to put together my race run and yeah, I guess just mentally prepare myself.
It's always going to be hard for an athlete straight away, the first race coming back. There's a lot of people who after an injury come back into a sport and maybe aren't up to pace. I'd say 90% of racing this is in your head, and after a crash like that, it would mess with your head for sure. So for Brook, he wants to prove that he's still one of the fastest people in the world.
Following him, I would not say he's broken his back. I'm struggling to keep up with him. I thought he'd be a little bit wary going into sections and that, but he just doesn't hold back.
Brook doesn't look like a guy who's had a spinal injury. Thought you'd be able to tell, but not at all. It's straight back to the old Brook. It's kind of mind-baffling. In fact, I'm speechless about his recovery. It's crazy.
It's a bit weird being back at a race. Body's good, ticking off boxes and preparing myself for race day.
Brook's a pretty strong mental guy, and I think when a challenge is given to him, he embraces it and just cracks on with the job. How quick he's been able to get back training, get back on a bike. That would take a normal person probably 2 to 3 years to even think about getting back on a downhill bike and start racing again.
Yeah, it's hard to get the gearing right on this. Yeah, I feel like I'm either in the too harder gear or too lower gear.
Too soft.
I'm not too sure how I feel about him going back. It was one thing that I said to him I don't want him to do, but I don't think I could do that to him and him as a person. It makes Brook who he is. I'll just hold my breath and then he can tell me how it went.
I think there's a fear inside of her that something like this could happen again, but it is part of the sport and what I do, and I feel like the way I've built myself, I feel like I've done it right.
About 50 minutes out from my final run. I'm the last one down. Pretty excited and also pretty nervous too, so yeah, I'm eager to get up there and get a race run done.
Fucking clip roots and just was like that. Going through that section, foot out, through the bridges, gap in, with that shitty left-hander. There's about a hole that deep as you're coming into it.
Not knowing where I'm sitting or how I'm riding will be difficult, but there is an excitement there. I've missed this feeling for a long time, so just going through the whole process is it's going to be different.
It's always going to be in the back of his mind that he could come into this race and not be up to pace, how important these races are going to be for him for the rest of his career.
As soon as he took that first pedal out of the starting gate, it marks the next step of the journey, you know? It marks the journey back to the #1 spot.
He's actually ripping, and Brook Macdonald is always such a fierce competitor, and he took that same level of fierceness into his recovery. It takes such a strong mind to be able to push through something like that, and Brook Macdonald was forced to put everything back into perspective now, learning how to do everything over again, from walking to pedaling to racing. 5 seconds off the win is Brook Macdonald.
11th place on your first ride back against the best riders in the entire world.
And let me remind you all, we hear the cheers coming from the venue. There's no fans allowed. Everybody there is cheering so loud. This is the first time we've heard any cheering the entire week.
I had so many emotions going on. Literally, when I was hopping in the gondola, I was like wanting to cry, but I don't know why. It's just, I think everything just like it's so overwhelming.
Unreal, just amazing. The way just having him racing again just after 13 months, it's just unbelievable. And I'm so happy. That is the win, the biggest win.
There's not a doubt in my mind that he's going to come back and, you know, be up there again with the fastest in the world.
Definitely emotional for the whole team and the scene. I think it's a perfect comeback story.
Kudos to him. Yeah, I think everyone is just, it's like there's no other word. You're just proud of what he's achieved and what he's still going to achieve.
I realise every single day how lucky I am. Being thankful that I'm able to walk. I'm very lucky to, you know, get a second chance at life again.
Honestly, I can't, I'm speechless. I'm speechless to say, you know, where I've come from. To be here and racing again was a dream, and it's come true, so I'm stoked to be back racing.